Welcome to Book Babble. I'm Definitive D, and today we are going to go through what I read in February. February was a very good reading month for me. I slammed through a lot of things. So without further ado, let's get on to what I was reading. The first book that I picked up this month was The Tao of Pooh. Now this is a look at Taoism, or Taoism. I can't remember which way it's actually pronounced. But either way, it takes a look at Eastern philosophy and combines it with the workings of A. Milne. I found this to be a very excellent read. I found the material very approachable. I did end up giving this one a 4 out of 5. If you have a chance, I would highly recommend reading this one. Next up was Creativity Inc. This one is the story of Pixar Animation and how they got to be where they are. I think this was just a really amazing, engaging read. I also gave this one a 4 stars. My very first 1-star rating was Stephen King's Under the Dome. I just didn't like it. There was way too much detail, I felt. The stakes weren't high enough. I thought the concept was really interesting and had a lot of potential. Unfortunately, things happened too soon, and like I said, the stakes weren't high enough for me. And I really haven't had that much success with Stephen King. Maybe I'm just picking poorly. So if you have any Stephen King recommendations, I would love to hear them. And next up was a graphic novel, Bind Up. This is Dark Horse's Star Wars: The Other Sons of Tatooine. This story takes place concurrently with A New Hope. It follows the story of Biggs and another friend of Luke Skywalker's. You get to see what brought them off of Tatooine. The other thing that I thought was really wonderful with this one is they took the two different characters and they would split the panel in half, and you would see what is happening to one character and it would be mirrored with the other character's life, and I thought that was just really cool. I also rated 4 stars because it was a very fun read, and like I said, it fleshed out some characters that I had interest in finding out about. The next one I read in February was Michael Day's Topsy. Now this is the story of Topsy, an elephant who gets involved with P.T. Barnum's circus, and going into it, I really had high hopes for this book. Mainly because I just thought it would be a really great opportunity for me to find out about early circuses. Unfortunately for me, I had forgot or neglected to remember just how cruel, especially to animals, those early circuses were. I wouldn't recommend this book to anyone who is very animal sensitive. Unfortunately, this is a situation where maybe I should have done a little more research before picking this book up, because either I would have been able to prepare myself for the inevitable end of Topsy. This one, it made me feel very uncomfortable, and I was glad to finish this one. Not because I enjoyed it, but because I just needed to read something else. For those reasons, I had to give this one a 2 stars, because I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, because it is a very tragic part of our history. And so coming off of a very dark and dreary book, I had to pick something fun to get me out of that reading funk, so I picked up another Dark Horse Star Wars comic, Droids and Ewoks. Overall, this one was a very solid read, and that's why I gave it a 4. Next up was David M. Ewalt's of Dyson Men, which is the story of Dungeons and Dragons and the history behind it. This book, I think, would be a very interesting read if you were really super familiar with Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not really sure what I wanted from this book that it wasn't giving me. Maybe it was just too technical for me, or maybe I was looking for more a personal journey behind this guy and this game. But I did slug through this one. I did end up giving this one a 2 out of 5. So the next book that I picked up, I was really excited to read Leonard by William Shatner. This chronicles the friendship between Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner. I felt that it was a great tribute to a very great man. You don't need to know lots about Star Trek to enjoy this one. For those reasons, I did give this one a 4 out of 5. The second last book that I picked up was by my good friend J.R.R. Tolkien. This is the short story, The Story of Kalervo. It is the story of a boy seeking revenge for his father. It is very mythological, and it reads very well. I enjoyed this one immensely. It is always great to go back to Tolkien's writings. I give that one a 4 out of 5. And with it being a leap year, I was really glad because I spent the last day of the month finishing off a extra book. It was part of the Han Solo trilogy written by Brian Daley, and it was Han Solo's Revenge. I love Star Wars, and the Han Solo trilogy, I've read 2 now out of the 3. I've enjoyed both very, very much. This one, Han Solo gets mixed up into slave trading. You get to see that, yes, there's actually more to him than just this smuggler rogue who, you know, can do the Kessel Run very quickly. There's a lot of heart into this one. You get to see that relationship between Han and Chewbacca. So those are the books that I read in February. If you guys have read any of these books, I would love to hear what you have thought about them. So as always, from me to you, I hope your day is just tickety-boo. I'll see you soon.